Good evening to all. I welcome you on behalf of the Research Culture Society and this international workshop on research data analysis using SPSS. So we will have 7 days, the same time, 5:30 to 7 p.m. So I hope you will enjoy this program and you will have some more knowledge about this special features SPSS program. So this is the layout day-wise plan. Participants can take the screenshot of this. So this is the brochure file we have already shared with you. All the participants can download SPSS software from the main portal of IBM website. You can take this screenshot of this file. This is visible, and some of the other websites, you can download a free version. That is a crack version, we can say. The website is getin2pc.com. You can download version of 26, 25, 24, or 23. These are the free available crack version. Official version from IBM website. It is for I think a 15 days free trial version you can get. You can create your own account for the free trial version. And these are some videos links here on the YouTube. It will help you how to install and run the SPSS software.
In University in economics department. I'm a faculty here for econometrics, advanced econometrics, statistics, and quantitative techniques used for the analysis. Today, I'm going to start with the very first introductory topic, that is statistics and research method. And what we are going to cover, I'm going to display you with my second. Sir, please, can you... Hello, sir. I want the next slide.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
Ma'am, you can share your screen now directly from your end.
Okay. And what we are going to cover today, that is what is research, what is the concept of research, types of research, participants or stakeholder of the research, ethics in research, basically what kind of ethics we should follow as a researcher, and then research applications on in various fields. We will start with the social sciences, and then we will move to the business areas. And in that, we will study about the process. In that, we will study about the various types of the component of that process. Then we will move toward the sampling and types of sampling. Further, we will study about statistics, the basic concept, so that in upcoming days you can have easy understanding. You can develop the easy understanding about the sampling and the statistics. Then component of statistics, types of statistics, function of statistics, analytical tools, result interpretation, and finally we will study about the limitations. So at the very first point, I'm going to just, it is not very tough. I'm going to make this simple as much as it will be possible. So first, before proceeding for the research, I would like to introduce what is SPSS, why we are going to study this, why it is important. Okay, so SPSS is a tool. This is a software. Basically, with the help of that, we can we can apply these the tool inbuilt in the SPSS. We can apply those things for your research purpose, for your analysis purpose. In earlier time, it was very tough to continue the research work with the numbers calculation. Now with the help of software, with the one click, you can have easy access of the data and their characters. You can have easy presentation of the data, characteristic categories, and then you can apply various model. Then first let's start with the SPSS. SPSS is the abbreviation of Statistical Package of Social Sciences. It is licensed by IBM. It delivers robust set of features that helps to extract the actionable insight from the site data. And further, what are the importance of SPSS? First, to analyze and better understanding of the data, to solve complex and business problem and business problem. You can say complex in the field of science, in the field of environmental science, in the field of agricultural economics, in the field of field of psychology, in the field of social work. There are lots of areas where you can apply with this. Later on, I will discuss where you can apply, what kind of data under which you can use this SPSS software. Okay, it helps to develop the model to forecast the situation. The basic objective of research is to apply research for predicting the future, or you can say to understanding the solution for the existing problem. So with the SPSS, we can forecast the situation in a upcoming scenario. The application area, as I already have told you, the social sciences in that MSW, okay, social work, psychology, sociology. There are lots of branches, education, okay. There are lots of branches of social sciences and in economics where you can apply this SPSS. In business and management sciences, of course, like try to understand the consumer behavior, then product sale, market research. You can apply the SPSS software. Is it clear? Should I move ahead? Before proceeding ahead, I would like to know just in textbook whether I can continue with this speed, language, and then content. Next is very first, after this SPSS introduction, I would like to introduce research. Research is a matter of raising question and then finding the solution, answer. It refers to the special investigation for the special kind of problem. As per the opinion of Cliff, research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses, collecting, organizing, and evaluating data, making deduction and making conclusion, and furthermore, carefully testing of the conclusion to determine whether they fit in the formulated hypothesis or not. Moreover, Webster defined research as a serious inquiry or examination which are made toward the critical and exhaustive investigation for its aim to discover new facts. Basically, research is for the for exploring the solution for existing problem. In this context, we can say research can be two categories. One is the applicable, one is exploratory. Exploratory is just exploring something new. In application, somewhere it is existing. Just with the help of your research, you are applying, replicating those things in your problem. So in a both way, you are doing research. It is not like just finding new facts. This is also research, but in a systematic way, as Cliff has explained, that it comprises defining problems, redefining the problems, formulating hypotheses. In upcoming slides, you will study what is hypothesis actually. Then organizing the collected data, evaluating the data, and then making deduction. Making deduction means just having having a narrow approach from the various data set. Okay, just suppose you want to study about the COVID vaccines, impact of that COVID vaccine. Suppose this is the recent discussion. Then we have lots of data. We have number of information. What we will do with those information? With the help of research, with the help of systematic research, we can deduct those information and have conclusion. for our problem. So this is kind of research. So as per Webster, he also defined research as an investigation. It is the examination of the problem, critical issues, to discover the facts and new facts to support those issues, to support, in the sense, to support the solution of those issues. This is the research in a brief way. Second, what is the concept of research? You can say, what are the content component of the research? I have, with the lots of review, I have identified 5 major component concept of the research. First one is logic and realistic, reliability and validity, accuracy, scientific integrity, and recording and reporting. I will go with the first point, that is logic and realistic. Research should be logical and realistic. It means it should have a relationship between the facts and figures. It is not like that whatever you are saying, it is based on your own opinion, your own judgment. It should be logical. Realistic, it means it should be based on reality. It should be objective. Objective, it means it should be kind of, it should not have the various opinion. Suppose in a COVID shield, if I am doing research, then there should be a uh, concrete findings. It should be universal, uniform for each and everybody. Otherwise, it will create chaos, and it will be not useful for the purpose for what it was discovered. Second one, reliability and validity. It is very important in research. Whatever you are doing, you should prove that that is valid for that context, and that is reliable. Whatever you are using the information for analyzing the data, for developing the solution, that is reliable. You can trust on that. It means while research in next video, next slide, you will study about the data. Okay, for that purpose, I'm just informing you that reliability is associated with the data. In research, when you are going to finding the solution, it is very important what kind of sources you are using. Now, just pull that example again, the Covishield vaccine. Okay, someone is telling that Covishield is not good, Covaxin is good, Covishield is not effective. Then people are waiting for Covaxin. Then how you are deriving this kind of conclusion, this is important, whether it is based on some kind of scientific data, or it is just a kind of opinion of any person, any individual, any student, any organization. So this is very important in research. So the second concept is the reliability solution. Whatever findings you are going to explore and float in the public, that should be reliable and validate. Accurate, it means whatever you are finding, your research should be accurate. It should have kind of less vagueness. You must have high confidence level over your findings. Next is scientific integrity. Nowadays, science cannot be separated from anything. So whether it is qualitative research or quantitative research, whether you are working in a psychology and whether you are working in a mathematics or physics, in a both ways, science is there. Science is an integrated system of the research. Therefore, it is at the fourth point, it is mentioned that scientific integrity is the another concept of the research. Whatever you are going to find, there will be a scientific systematic approach, algorithm. You are going to follow some kind of algorithm to explore the model or solution for your problem or your issues. Next one is recording and reporting. This is the last concept of the research. Once you are done with the your analysis and every part, then you have to record your solution, your methodology, so that in future your research could be useful for the future generation or the in a future scenario. Because whenever, like, you, most of the students, like, or faculties are there, and who are in a research phase, or they are in a PhD articles. So you must be knowing about the recording and reporting, the importance of that, because in that section you always mention that what is the significance of your research. This is the mandatory part of your in your report, like significance of the research. So for that purpose, suppose you are going to be useful for the policy level, for the government. So for that purpose, that research should be recorded and reported somewhere to replicate and to apply in the future. The next slide is types of business research, or you can say types of research. There are two kinds of research, basically, broadly. I'm not talking about this specifically, but broadly under that there are several subgroups: qualitative and quantitative research. In a quantitative research, first we will go with the qualitative and quantitative research as name reflects. First, I would like to explain this. Quantitative research, when we are dealing with the numbers and we are dealing with the mathematical operation in the models, then we are following the quantitative research. We are following the pattern of the quantitative research. Whereas when we are not following any mathematical operations in our research, or we are not following any number, then it is qualitative research. For obviously, like in social sciences, or in social sciences too, there are quantitative research and qualitative research too, but specifically because here we explore the subjective dimension too. In if I'm talking about the sociology, I want to study the culture of the tribes. Okay, here we will not completely rely on the quantitative research. We need to pull the qualitative component of the research, because always objectivity cannot solve your purpose. So for that, in this kind of category of the research, you follow the qualitative research, where number cannot do anything. Only your intuitions, only your observation, your cases, your in that kind of investigation you can find out the solution. Whereas in the quantitative one, you can apply the number, you can read the number, you can have the mathematical operation in that. Okay, you can have the model in that. So that kind of research is covered by the quantitative research. Here again we have several kind of research, that is causal research, correlational research, experimental research. In qualitative research we can categorize. Again, I'm telling, this is not hard and fast rule that you have to stick and limit with this kind of research. As time evolves, time is moving, progressing, the research is also getting evolved. So you can add several other kind of researches, okay, in a several fields, from the several fields. So in a qualitative research, there is focus group research, ethnographic research, and case study. One by one, I'm going to explore each research. Okay, casual research. In casual research, we are developing relationship between facts and figures. Causes and effect is the key part of this casual research. Causes and effect, it means something is happening, there must be the factors. Exploring those things is known as a causes and effect research. For example, again, I'm quoting example. That is, suppose I want to study the impact of market integration on farmers' welfare. This is the one kind of research. Okay, I want to know the farmers' welfare and the market integration, pricing policies. Then here, pricing policy can be a factor for the farmers' well-being, economic benefit. So in this way, we can say, in this way we can say causal research. Here there are two factors. Farmers' welfare is a factors of the function of the pricing policy and market integration. Correlational research, here we are not exploring the impact like previous one. We are just analyzing the association. Suppose I want to check whether there is a relationship between the students' performance and students' attendance. Okay, suppose if you guys are attending this session, and in this session you are getting something or not, like you have some kind of improvement, or there is an association between your performance and your attendance. I'm not analyzing the impact, whether your attendance is getting influenced by your performance, or your performance is getting influenced by your attendance. I am just checking out the association between these two things. That this is known as the correlational research. Next is experimental research. In this is very important. It can be applied in a qualitative as well as quantitative research, but here we have to take one group as a control group. Under the experimental research, we can also conduct the comparative research too. Suppose in agriculture, again, I'm taking the example. I want to check the productivity of the land. In that, or productivity of the seed quality. I want to know the difference between the seed quality. I have randomly chosen 3 plots of the field, and in that I want to analyze which kind of seed is more productive. This kind of research is known as experimental research, where we want to analyze the impact of our experiment. That is known as the experimental research. Okay, so this is, I think, I made you clear. I'm moving toward the next one, that is the qualitative research. In qualitative research, first of all, I would like to explain focus group research. In focus group research, that is when you have to discuss any issue which is related to a community. Or you can say, in a formal way, you can write a definition that formal focus group research is a research when a person or researcher or investigator is going to conduct a research in a community or a group of people to analyze the problem, to have the solution. So in short, that is called the focus group research. For example, if I want to know the farmers issues, like that, we have this is the current issues, like a farmers, the 3 acts which got implemented and farmers were opposing. I want to know their opinion, why they are opposing that rules, that acts. Then in that way, I should conduct the focus group research. In one-to-one research or any model is not going to work here. Here, what will work here, the will be the more effective tools. So this is the focus group research. Another one is ethnographic research. In this kind of research, where researcher and investigator is limited to have direct response from the respondent group. In that way, in that condition, researcher opt for the ethnographic research. It is kind of observation from the target area. Suppose, as I told you, the cultural differences. Sometimes you are not able to differentiate culture by the interview or something like that. But you can differentiate that culture differences by participating in culture, by observing that culture. Okay, so this kind of research comes under the ethnographic research. Next one is case study. Case study is basically a research when we are going to conduct a thorough research or deep research for a particular unit or an individual unit. Like, I want to know the organic farming successful, like a mushroom cultivation. Suppose one farmer has cultivated and got enhanced his or her. In that case, that will be another example. If I want to know the how stock market can work and can be helpful in fall profit. In that condition, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, okay. In that condition, we need to conduct the case study. There, we cannot do the experimental research, correlational research, or ethnographic or focus group research. So here it was the subgroup of the qualitative research. Another one, and apart from this type of research, you can go for the research design. In more or less means it is a compulsory part that you have to explain in a research methodology what kind of design you are going to adopt in your research, kind of exploratory research, descriptive research, or experimental research, or empirical research. So it is not in a slide, but still I would like to explain you. When we are just describing our research, we are not exploring any new thing, just we are presenting our fact and information in the way they are. We are not going to drawing any conclusions. Whatever I observe, I'm presenting. That is known as a descriptive research. Okay, it can be qualitative and it can be quantitative if we are using this statistical thing. Okay, next one is experimental research. Experimental research. In experimental research, we are, already explained you empirical research. In empirical research, nowadays we are doing empirical research. Mostly the research scholar PhD, they pick some kind of theory, and in theory they just collect data and they fit those data in that theory and just testing that in that particular reason the theory is working or not. That is known as the empirical testing. It means testing of that theory in a particular area. Okay, in applied research, if you are adopting the applied research, in applied research you have already the solution. As I told you, research is not not only one time things. It is a continuous process and for the long term things. Okay, your research should be valid for at least 5 to 10 years. Your topic should be like that. While picking your topic, you should have this kind of thing in your mind, that whether my research is going to provide benefit to the society or the a business or any kind of sector for our next 5 to 10 years or not. In that way we are using the applied research. Okay, in next one I'm going to explain the research stakeholder, participant or beneficiaries. Here I get the means I just misspelled this spelling, but yes, who can be the stakeholder of the research? Okay, the first one is business consultant, managers, entrepreneur, firm owners, market analysts, and policy makers, students. Okay, there are lots of person, but I have just presented few the commercial professional ones. Okay, like there are lots of consultancies which provide the data like MOSPI, NSSO, DES, Directorate of Economic and Statistics. They have data about the population demographic data, and they have data for the agricultural development. They have data for their sectorial development. Managers in companies, manager are responsible to have information to conduct research for developing the ideas and policies in the organization for their profit motive. Entrepreneur, to like nowadays startups are in a trend. They need to do the market research before jumping into the market, because if they are not have any kind of research, they will not sustain for a long time. Firm owner, if I'm an owner, I need to have research. I need to do the research before starting, that what kind of market competitions are there, how to compete with that, what kind of pricing policy I should apply there. So they can be the research stakeholder. Market analyst, okay, like stockholders, like whether I should in a I think you might have in your like professional span, you might have a kind of meeting with the demat account hold person and then mutual fund person kind of person. They advise you for investing your money somewhere, and a real estate person, they are market analysts. And now I talk about the non-professional, who are not professional person for the research, but still they are doing kind of like in a daily routine we are pursuing research. Okay, housewives, they are pursuing research for their daily routine solving, tracking their daily routine issues. Students, okay, PhD students, okay, teachers for writing articles and various, because there are concept of API, they need to be in the research process, so that they should be, they get updated with the information and articles and literature. So these are the things which can be under the research stakeholder, or the person who can be benefited by the research. Next is ethics and research. Ethics is very important in research. Okay, it refers to some kind that direct or govern an individual team to pursue the input and output of the research contents. Here are few ethical points are discussed in an informal way. It was a formal way to like it refers to the principle and guidelines, or it direct and govern individual how to pursue your research, what kind of input you should have. In a general way, ethics are your own moral, Means sometimes like people are doing research just for the sake of degree. It is not ethical. If you are doing something, you should be the part of things. Like here are few points I have mentioned for your research. Kind of plagiarism. Plagiarism, it should be avoided. You cannot. It is kind of intellectual stealing. If you are using any content from any site, you should refer that yes, this is the definition, or this is the concept I have taken. It was published in this article or in this journal and this book. Okay, so this is a plagiarism, just copying content from any site, any book without any reference. Okay, next is breaking respondents confidential. While collecting data, you have to you have to be sure that your the confidentiality of your respondent should be kept secret. It shouldn't be explored, or it shouldn't be commercialized. You should not, you are not supposed to sell out your respondent data, or cannot use for another purpose. Okay, so this is the second ethics which should be followed in research. Second is commercialization of data, what I suggested you in a previous point. Like, you cannot sell out your data for your PhD purpose, and if you are selected data for your PhD purpose, then you have to use data in PhD only. And for that reason, you have to mention, okay, you have to mention this line at the very first top of your questionnaire. While distributing your questionnaire, you have to mention for what purpose you are collecting data. Misinterpretation of data and result. It is seen, it is being observed that lots of researcher students are very good in manipulation. They, for seeking their objective, they are instead of explaining things, instead of explaining loopholes, they just manipulate things as per their desire, as per their institutional wants, that which is completely wrong. It is unethical. Wrong approach to the respondent. Suppose any respondent is not willing to give the responses. Okay, he or she is not ready to answer your queries, then you cannot force him or her. You cannot you cannot cheat her to get your information. Okay, so it is another ethical point. And another one is biasness in selecting response for the research purpose. This is very important. If you are not following this point, then you will face the insignificant result of your result. In upcoming days, you will understand what is significant and insignificant result. And it is not like if you are cheating, then you will not be caught in future, because your result will explain your research quality. If you are, means while my PhD, I found if any responses was covered by the biasness, then they will give you higher p-value. P-value means in upcoming days you will understand what is the importance of p-value. It means they were not significant. So this is the another point, biasness in selecting respondent. Like in sampling, you cannot have any kind of judgmental thing. You cannot have any predefined perception about the respondent. You should be unbiased while selecting your respondent, so that you have the reliable and good research. Okay, I think I'm clear about this. Should I move ahead? Research application.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, research application in various fields. Okay, I have categorized it into the micro level research and macro level research. As you will means there are lots of books of research. Every author has their own experience. Research is kind of thing that you cannot have a single or narrow concept. You have means various people have defined their own opinion, their own experiences. It is my opinion that rather than creating lots of confusion, I just created two branches, that is micro level research and macro level research. In macro level research, when you can control things, okay, kind of institutional data, industrial data, and academic research. Okay, that is the research application in at the micro level. when things in a social science, what you are doing, that is completely macro level, like agricultural research, environmental research, political research, business research, and sociological research, anthropological research. There are lots of level where you cannot control things, like you are if miss you just decided, okay, today I will select one, I will collect 20 data, and I will interview 20 respondents. But when you were in field, things were completely different. They are not getting your research purpose. They're not ready. They're not cooperative. Then they are. This is completely, out of control. So it is kind of external thing. Okay, so this is the research application in a various field. Next one is research in management area. I have highlighted because this is a kind of business research. Most of the students are like management area or something. I am also from the management, allied management area, so that's why I have included this. That is first one is in a, if I'm talking about the basically management and business area, again, research can be categorized into three parts: institutional, institution oriented, market oriented, and customer oriented. This is the just kind of example research in management and business area. In the same way, you can write down research in economics area, research in sociology, research in psychology. Like in management, I'm just providing you a base how you can proceed with the research. Institutional oriented, when you are going with the institutional oriented research, then you are considering employees behavior. Suppose you want to understand the behavior of employees, like you want to understand their presence, their energy level in the organization, their loyalty, okay, their retention. So this will be the employees behavior. Strategy formulation, the marketing strategy, like suppose you company need to invest in the market or not, that should also be the part of the research. And after researching, the manager need to take any kind of decision, otherwise that will be complete failure. It is also a matter of research that how much product you should release and how much product you should have in your stock and how much product you should be in the production process. This is also kind of production research. So this will be covered by the production regulation and control. Risk assessment, like insurance things, while in investing or taking policies of insurance, you need to go for the risk assessment analysis. This is also part of research. Installation of technology, you need to whether you need to update, install new technology, your company is ready for that. For that also you need to do this internal research. Valuation of the firm, asset and liability inflows and outflows, this should be clear in the mind of manager or the person who is going to take the decision. Okay, the next one is market oriented research. Okay, market oriented research, when we do research like to analyze the competition, government policies which can affect the market, social and cultural dynamics which can affect your product range, product development, networking and contract formulation which can impact your stakeholder or shareholders investment. So analysis, it is also important. Suppose there is a oligopoly or some kind of monopoly competition or perfect competition, you should have information about that. You must have the basic research about the competition. Government and market policies, suppose this is the lockdown. In a lockdown for 2 years, almost 2 years, we are inside the home and our purchasing behavior are completely got changed. So the government decision is very important in this scenario, that how much quantity we can sell out and at what prices. This is also very much very important part of the business decision. Second, in social and cultural dynamics, like in which society we are dealing and what kind of cultural dynamics are there. Suppose like if I'm talking about the hill areas, I'm from a hill areas, they have different cultures, like they have different festivals, they have different food food culture. So for if I want to develop my product, suppose I want to develop like a kind of a South Indian food restaurant, then I should understand whether they are ready to welcome that product or not. So this is also important. Before launching new product, you should have the social and cultural dynamics, network and contract formulation. Before that, there are two kind of networking and contract, kind of, vertical integration and horizontal integration. Then you should be aware what kind of integration you are going to have. Okay, so this is the market oriented research. Second one is the customer oriented. Last but not least, these are the content which is completely out of control from the managers. Customer is a king, or nowadays it is called as a queen of the market, or because earlier it was said that a customer is a person who can decide the price, okay, whether your product will be in the market or not. But now you have to design your product along with the price. You have to design your product to attract that customer, so that they should be with your product. They should be loyal with your, uh, yes, इसकी recording मिलेगी, yes. The next one is word of mouth advertisement. For making that decision also, there you need to have research. Complaint handling decision, for making that decision whether you need to provide them additional facilities, which kind of facilities you are going to provide, whether it is cost effective or not. Sometimes you need to take decision out of the box so that you can you can maintain the customer trust. And whether means it doesn't matter what kind of cost you are going to bear. Okay, this is the research in business and management area. The next slide will deal with the research process. Okay, how to proceed for the research? First is identify the research problem. Review the existing literature. On the basis of existing literature, you need to create hypothesis theory, then collect the data, analyze the data, and interpret the result and write the report. This is the major 6 steps through which you have to execute your research. First one is research problem. In next slide, I have mentioned things in detail, so we can move to the next slide. In a very first process, you need to define your problem. Okay, without problem identification, you cannot get proceed for research. First of all, you should know why you are pursuing your research, why why you want to do that research. The objective should be clear. Suppose in a for example, psychology, I want to test the examine the women psychology for the job or corporate job. Okay, what they think about the corporate job. Okay, so this is my, for conducting research, this is my issue, this is my target, their thinking process, their psychology, their perception toward the, this is my issue. I have defined my issues. Okay, so steps in that also, for defining problem, you need to follow some kind of step. Or you can say, if women are not joining the corporate offices, they are more intended toward the government job or teaching job. People are observing less participation of women in the corporate job. Then what is the reason behind that? I have identified the problem, my problem. Now next is how to define that problem. State the research problem in general way. There can be lots of things: social cause, cause. Okay, narrow down the issue specifically. Now next step, how to define that. Okay, suppose I want to I just identified, okay, the psychological problem is there, they are thinking, this is the personal perception, they are not joining the corporate job. So I have narrowed down, I have just specified the nature of the problem. Now next step, in this process, I need to define the nature, whether it is subjective problem, it is objective problem, it can be quantified or not be quantified, to design my risk. Just how to deal, means next step after defining the problem is to deal with your problem. Okay, how to deal, this is the next step. Next is, if I'm talking about next slide, that is a survey. Next step, in 11 I have explained this part. First step, very first step I have explained. In the second one, Review the existing literature related to the problem. What is literature? First of all, we need to define. Okay, literatures are the academic record for the various studies. Okay, suppose in every field, for proceeding next, you need to do your literature review. It means what you have done, what subject. So in a next step, for proceeding next step, you need to review your literature, the or published study, published or unpublished study, where you can get your tentative remedy for your problem. In the case of management or business, you will go for the business problem. In case of social studies, you can go for the social remedies and psychological remedies. It is completely the framework. Try to think, try to understand. Research framework will be same. Just content will be adjustable as per the area and application. This is the beauty of research. Okay, the frame will be this frame of the research will be same throughout the discipline. Like if you are using the physics, you have to define first your problem, you have to go for the literature, you have to go for the tool, then you have to analyze, then you have to, but what kind of tool you are using, that will be completely depending on the area of your topic. Is that clear? In that we have two kind of review. One is thematic literature review, another one is chronological literature review. PhD students should focus on this. Nowadays we are focusing on a thematic and running literature review style. Okay, chronological, it means we are moving for the, suppose I have this kind of topic I have selected, the digital evolution in the education sector. It is a completely a new topic. Hardly in like a 2000s, in a 20th century, we are facing this digital equipment with the integration with the education system. Then we can have the chronological system of literature review from 2000 to 2020. Now it is 21. We need to focus on that, like in 2000 who just explored this study, in 2002 who explored this related study or related areas. But in thematic approach, you have to decide first theme. Under that you have to explore the literature. Suppose first you are exploring the digital devices and the education. Okay, under that you are digital devices and literacy among the teachers, then digital devices literacy among the students. This is a kind of theme. Earlier you were moving with the time. In 2001, the number of authors or literature which was dealing with the digital devices. In 2002, there are little bit differences. In thematic literature review, we are moving with the themes. In chronological, we are reviewing literature on the basis of time duration, movement of the time. And in thematic, it doesn't matter it is in 21 or something like that. Under that theme, whatever literature is mentioned, you have to review that. Okay, is that clear? I think next one is the very important part. If I will go to the research process, the next one is creating hypothesis. Okay, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is nothing. If you just go with it in a scientific word, it is kind of a simple assumption. Hypothesis is the assumed relationship between the business parameter, between the psychological parameter, between the economical parameter, between the physics parameter, whatever study you are going to conduct. Hypothesis is a statement which define the relationship between the selected parameters in your study. Is that clear? For example, if I'm talking about the hypothesis, suppose I want to check the digital device and their students' performance. Okay, or utilization of the digital device or library utilization, infrastructural utilization and their grade, university infrastructure utilization and their grade. So in that condition, okay, there is a positive relationship, there is a positive impact or positive relationship between the university infrastructure and students' learning, students' performance. So this is kind of a statement which is reflecting my study. This statement is reflecting my study. This statement is reflecting the relationship of the parameter of my study. So this is the framework for the hypothesis development. Next is types of hypothesis. Okay, what is types of what are the types of hypothesis? Basically, it is two types: null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Under that, you can say working hypothesis, statistical hypothesis, logical hypothesis. Okay, when we deal with the statistical things, statistical tools, then while formulating the statement, we will use the statistical hypothesis. But if we are working with qualitative concept of literature, then we use the working hypothesis. It means that we have tentative statement. Logical, when we are dealing with this statement, the facts and figures, not kind of relationship, but yes, we are using the facts and figure for explaining our statements. Under that, we have null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is where we can negate the relationship. Okay, no word is there, or we have zero outcome. That is null hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis, when we have existence of the relationship between the parameters. Suppose there is a relationship between the digital devices utilization and the student performance. That is alternative. But there is no relationship between the digital devices and student performance. That is the null hypothesis. Okay. How to formulate the different type of hypothesis? Okay. Hypothesis is completely depending on your study. Suppose in psychology, it is completely a matter of your area. Suppose I want to test the normality of the data. Okay, in that hypothesis will be like my data is normal. Okay, can I use the board? Hello? For explaining this, how to formulate the different types of hypothesis, can I use board? Hello, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So next is null and alternative hypothesis. Is a completely depending on area of the research. Suppose you want to check your model fitness, then null hypothesis, your model is fit. Alternative, your that is model is not fit. Now you will say not was used for the null hypothesis, but here it is the alternative hypothesis. Then I will explain with the 1 minute. I'm going to use this. Start the null hypothesis and alternative. Okay, this is H naught basically. This is HA. Alternative. Why we are using this? I'm not using this not concept in this hypothesis formulation, because sometime when we are using, suppose data is normal or not, in for applying statistical tool, we should know whether data is normal or not. Data is normal or not. In this condition, we will normal or not. Okay. In this condition, we will assume data is normal. Data is normal. Is normal. Okay. And alternative will be data is not normal. Is not normal. Normal. Okay. So why we are assuming data condition in statistics, data normality is this. When our graph data is distributed in this pattern. Okay. If data is normal, it means data is equal to this. What we have assumed the assumed data is equals to actual data. Assumed data is equals to actual data. Okay, there is no differences. It means if they both are equals to, then outcome will be 0. This is little bit mathematics. Okay, so this will be null hypothesis. But unlike this, if I'm talking that data is not normal, it means whether it is, I'm using another color, red. Okay, if data is not normal, then whether it is right side is skewed or left side is skewed, it means these two are not equal to each other. They are giving whether it assumed data, it is having greater than property of actual data. In that way, we have to focus that this outcome should be 0. Okay, in a most of the in a practical question we have given like the population mean is equals to 200. In that case, we will assume our null hypothesis that the population mean is equals to 200. Mu is equal to 200. Whatever we are assuming, that is actually that. So it will be 200. Against that, alternative will be mu is not equals to 200. It means what does it means? It is giving the alternate. That's why it is known as an alternative. 200. So mu is greater than, either greater than or less than. So in short, we can say when we are comparing, then we will use positive sentences null hypothesis, that is equal to, okay, or something like that. If we are taking out the relationship, then null hypothesis will be in a negative sentence. Is that clear? I think I'm clear about this.
Yes, ma'am. Please continue with the PPT slide.
Okay. Null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Next one is data collection. This is the important part, how to collect data. Before the data collection, you should need how to, what kind of data you can have. Cross-sectional data, time series data, or panel data. Cross-sectional data is when you are collecting data on the basis of observation, individual, by keeping your time constant. Like I'm collecting data for women empowerment in 2001 or in 2011 for all women in hill areas. So that will be the cross-sectional data. Unlike this time series data, I'm talking about 2001 to 2020. That will be time series data. And the combination of these two, that cross-sectional data and time series, there will be the panel data. Okay, there will be the panel data, means whole cross-sectional and time series. Suppose I want to know the women empowerment in 13 districts of Uttarakhand, then Dehradun, Haridwar, Chamoli, like that, and there are like 10-year span. So we can have the combination of cross-sectional and time series data. Now the next is the sources of data. The primary data collection and secondary data collection. Then in a primary data collection, we have interview method, kind of when we collect data directly from the sources. In the secondary data collection, when we are collecting data from, not from the respondent directly, but from any kind of agencies, website, reports, that kind of. Okay, in detail we are going to study in this. Now when we talk about the in a previous one, when we are talking about the primary data collection, what were the method? Interview method, questionnaire method, observational method. These are the direct method of collection, means raw information. And when we talk about the secondary data collection, it is like internet, website, consultancies, agencies, like a MOSFI report, WTO report, okay, report in published in Directorate of Economics and Statistics, business reports, like that. Now, primary data collection will be the here are the another methods like a questionnaire method. You have to mail them, schedule. And here, what is the difference between the schedule and questionnaire? They both are the two set of questions, set of queries. But in questionnaire, respondent, him or herself fill the questionnaire, whereas in schedule, the investigator and researcher got information from the respondent and fill the queries. Okay, this is the basic difference. Here is the preparation of the questionnaire schedule. How you will prepare, how to proceed for that. The first one is close-ended questionnaire, scaled questions, multiple choice questions, dichotomous questions. Okay. Next one is the open-ended question. Now, one by one, I'm going to explain you. Scaled question like a Likert scale in tomorrow, when you will be studying about the variables and all, then you will be studying about the scale, Likert scaling and all. When we have data collection on the basis of scale, like agree, suppose I'm asking about your decision making power in your family. Okay, I told you like you are very much powered, somewhat, moderate level, without any level. So this is kind of ended because you are providing the answer. In open-ended, respondents are free to answer anything, they can answer in that. Okay, but unlike that, in close-ended, respondent are not free to choose the answer. He need to choose. He is free, but from the given options. Okay. In multiple choice questions, it is not a scale, but yes, you have given kind of okay, what do you do in your free time? Like women empowerment you are talking about, like what do you want to you do basically in your free time? Dancing, okay, cooking, or playing, or driving, like that. Okay. Dichotomous question, when you are including close-ended question in a very opposite form, yes or no, like okay, dirty bipolar type kind of questions. Okay, these are the prepare, means you have to keep these kind of things in your mind while preparing questions. What kind of questionnaire you are going to put in your questionnaire and schedule? I told you what is a questionnaire, what is questionnaire, and what is schedule. Next one is, and now for collecting data, now you are done with the type of data, then sources of data, how to collect those data, primary data. If in case of primary data, you have to develop questionnaire and schedule, and then what kind of questionnaire you can, how you can develop the questionnaire. Now, is it important to collect data from the whole population? Is it relevant? Is it okay? The answer is no. For that purpose, we have sampling. If you are conducting your research in the whole unit of the population, that will be census. Okay, that is conducted by the government. Okay, Indian government, government of India, in each and every 10 years. But mostly studies are depending on sampling because they are less time consuming. Time means monetary constraint. There are not lots of things which can be achieved by the sampling. Okay, in a sampling, what is this? When secondary data is not available for the problem under study, a decision may be taken to collect the primary data, but number of constraint causes limit the observation. There are sampling, therefore sampling got introduced. As I told you, you cannot approach each and every unit of the population. For that purpose, you should have you should be selective, and for selective you need you need to adopt this sampling technique. Sampling is the process of learning and analyzing the population on the basis of sample drawn from it. If this is the formal definition, what you how to define the sampling in a simple word. This is a technique or methods to pick out the unit from the population to represent the population's characteristics. Okay, to define your population. Okay, what are the process of the sampling techniques? What are the elements of the sampling techniques? Selecting sample, collecting the information, making the inferences about the population. These three are the common elements which are done on the basis of sampling. Next is types of sampling. Broadly, there are two kinds of sampling. In random sampling, each and every unit has a equal chances to be selected in the study. Whereas in non-random sampling, unlike this, it is completely depending on the researcher and the investigator, whether he or she want to include that unit or not. Okay. In random sampling, again, we have 5 categories of sampling. And in a PhD student, and means in your thesis, most of the at the time of your viva, the most of the questions are is being asked from the this kind of sampling techniques. Why you opted this? What are the reason behind that? Why you selected this much of the number of the sampling? So for that purpose, you should be very clear about this, what sampling you are going to use. Simple random sampling is referring, you can refer this to the lottery method. Like any kind of biasness or any kind of logic. Okay, you are just picking random. You just identify your area and you are picking one random unit. Next one is systematic random sampling. In systematic random sampling, researcher and investigator, here I have explained it in detail. If you want to take the slide PPT, then you can take this. Okay, individuals are selected at regular interval from the sampling frame. Suppose you have 5,000 sample, systematic sample. It is applicable when you are aware the number of population. Okay, in that you can, suppose you want to have 500 sample out of 5 lakh. So you have to divide 5 lakh divided by 500, and each and every 5,000 item will be your sampling unit. So this is kind of systematic sampling, where it is used basically when the street lamp and Nagar Nigam kind of use this kind of, suppose in a like be quarantined or every 5,000 scheme kind of that. Okay, in a stratified sampling, divide when researcher divide the whole, you know, a data set into a homogeneous group, then it is homogeneous subgroup, that is known as a stratified sampling. Suppose I want to know the women empowerment. In that, I have categorized on the basis of their attributes, age, like below 25 women are there, 25 to 35 women are like that, 35 to 45 women are like that. I'm taking this strata on the basis of demography or income group. Suppose I'm taking the income group of like below 50,000 rupees earning and above 50,000 rupees earning. That is stratified sampling. In clustered sampling, we do the grouping on the basis of attributes, their closeness, kind of rural urban area. I have one attributes about the women empowerment, that is the area, region, a rural area, urban area, or semi-urban area. This is known as a clustered sampling. When I am picking out the units from that cluster, from that area, from that attribute, that is called the cluster sampling. Last is multi-stage sampling. Mostly people are doing this multi-stage sampling, and it is defined in a two way. In case of huge population, like 5 lakh, you cannot have the 5,500 and at any basis random sampling. And in this situation, you will get insignificant result, obviously. In this case, you go with the stepwise step. At first stage, you choose 1 lakh. Then in a second stage, you choose 10,000. In the next step, after 10,000, you choose 1,000. And after 1,000, you are choosing 500. This is the filtering of the data, of samples. Okay, so that you can get the sufficient and adequate representation of the population. In another sentence, you can say, suppose at the very first level, you are choosing the systematic sampling. Okay, in that systematic sampling, you are grouping things, and in grouping, then you are selecting a people. So in a both way, you are opting various stages for selection of the unit. Okay, this was the random sampling. Unlike this non-random sampling method, it refers the not equal chances of units in the sample, of getting selection in the sample. So there are four sample size, four techniques. One is convenience sampling, quota sampling, judgmental sampling, and snowball sampling. Convenience sampling is the completely depending on the convenience of the researcher. Okay, and availability or and willingness of the respondent and researchers both. Like suppose I want to take the, I want to select the data, select a sample from the hill areas, and I am from the particular Dehradun district and Chakrata districts, and I'm selecting that area because I am from there. I am very much aware about the areas, people. I will get the data. But I am not going to Kumaon region because I'm not there. I have language barrier. So this is completely, when I am selecting farmers for my study, this is known as a convenience sampling. I will justify in my thesis that I have selected the convenience sampling. Another one is a quota sampling, where people, means researcher, are fixed for the particular. Suppose I'm talking about the women farmers, then women are fixed. This is a quota for the women. In here, the specific type of the subject can be studied. Okay, in a judgment or purpose of sampling. Here, investigator or researcher have his or her own judgment and perception for the sampling. Okay, sampling unit. So, in like, if I'm talking about the farmers, my topic is, suppose, for example, my topic is cash crops, farmers welfare of the cash crop. So here I am going to select the farmers who is cultivating cash crops, only sugarcane. This is the purpose of sampling. It means where my purpose is getting solved, I will choose that sample. I'm not going to entertain each and every unit of the population. Okay, so this is known as the judgmental and purposive sampling. Next is a snowball sampling. This is a sample, it is kind of when we are going to social sciences, very much popular in the social sciences, snowball sampling. Suppose I want to study the illegal migration. Okay, there you won't get any formal data, but person to person. Okay, at very first stage you can have a very less respondent, but with movement of your research, you will get more and more respondent for your research. That's why it is known as a snowball sampling. At the very first phase it is small, but with the movement of your research, it is getting bigger and bigger. So that's why it is called a non-random sampling. Next is statistics. Statistics is the facts, which is you can say it is a science or mathematical science which is numerically expressed, enumerated and estimated according to reasonable standard of accuracy, collected in a systematic manner for the predetermined purpose and places in the research. Okay, you can say statistics is a tool. Okay, it's a medium to analyze your data. Suppose I'm talking about management, economics and physics. Everywhere you can apply statistics because it is a tool to take out the things. Okay, next one is the statistics, components of the statistics. Again, collection of data is without data you cannot work on statistics. Organizing data, classification, okay, presentation of data. In organization of data, it means a classification, then dealing with the data, just mining, data mining. It means just prepare them for your uses, statistical uses. This is also part of the statistics. Presentation of data. Nowadays, when you will move for the advanced level in data mining in Python and R, there are lots of software which deal with the data mining things. Okay, there are means you have to omit the useless data from there, but you should be very careful while doing this because in that process, sometime the important data got vanished. Okay, so for that reason, you have to be very careful. Next one is a presentation of data, graphical presentation or like a visual presentation. In because most of the time when you are conducting research, the population means the person target audience is not very much acquainted with the statistical terminology. Then you need to be very much simple in that way so that your things can be reached to the person for whom it was developed. Okay, so next one is analysis data of data. Without analysis you cannot take out the hidden facts. Interpretation of the data, the final component of the statistics, how to interpret your results on the basis components. The type of statistics, basically these are there are two types of statistics: descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. When we are using the descriptive statistics, we are talking about the mean, median, measure of central tendency, mean, median, mode. Descriptive statistics mean expressing the characteristics of your data set, how your data is actually. Before treating your, for example, you are going for a doctor, to the doctor for your treatment. First of all, he will examine your body, which kind of medicine you can adopt, observe. Okay, you can act for which kind of treatment for Before that, he will examine your body. In the same way, when we proceed for the next step, we have to examine the data set, whether what means with the help of mean, median, mode, range, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis. In upcoming days, you will understand what in detail these things. Inferential statistics, when you are going to conclude that data set, okay, with the help of when we go for the hypothesis testing, we are going for the inferential statistics by using TZ, F test, chi test, ANOVA test. It is also the part of the workshop. You will learn in upcoming days. Next one is a function and characteristics of the statistic. Numerically expressed, of course, statistics will always deal with the numerical values. If you are going to conduct any kind of qualitative things, then you have to create a dummy variable. You have to transform those data. Means for applying statistics, you have to create a dummy of that word. Then only you can go for the statistics. Okay, in the research, you can go for the qualitative research with the help of the literature review and all. No need for the data. But in a statistics, it is a compulsory that you have to have the numerical things. You have to apply the mathematical operations. The next one is the following systematic pattern. Of course, there is a pattern. You cannot go randomly. Even for randomness, there is a system. There is a pattern. Okay. Then next one is a solving purpose of predetermined objective. Statistics is always about the predetermined objective. You have to define first objective, then you can proceed for the next. Provide the causes and effect relationship. I have explained you. And next one is a forecasting or prediction. Okay. On the basis of that, you need to forecast. This is the analytical tool. Again, quantitative and qualitative. I have explained you. In a qualitative research, you cannot apply statistics. Then how to analyze those things? Okay, the question is how to analyze those things, because in this is the workshop for research too. In SPSS, you can also analyze the sentiment. It's not exactly sentiments, but in R, you can go for the sentimental analysis, the speech analysis, content analysis. Okay, so these are the analytical tools or bibliographic analysis for the literature review. So these are the things which you can apply for the qualitative research. But in quantitative research, stats is important, like descriptive analysis and inferential analysis. Okay. Next is result and interpretation. After a point, how to interpret your result. Like in stats also, in qualitative research also, you need to find out the things. Okay, you have to be narrowed down. Okay, how you will go for the interpretation. There are two approaches, inductive and deductive approaches. Basically, in inductive approaches, you started with a one, and with the movement of the research, you have just added lots of things, and then you are concluded. You identified one issue, and with the inductive approach, you got more than one issues, and then you got the solution for the various approaches. Like in this method, one move from a specific to broader generalization of the possible result. Whereas in deductive approach, opposite of that, you have this researcher or investigator get a very specific result. Okay, from the general observation to the very specific research. This is the result interpretation techniques. Next one is a limitation of both things, like based on aggregate fact. Why stats is not good for every time. Okay, why we need the qualitative things too, based on aggregate fact. Actually, it is not working. Like you will never ever see that statistic is working on the basis of one single things. Like for me, Jagrati, it will not work anything. But if you will analyze the number of performance of lots of professors dealing in a data sciences and research, then you can do something. Okay, or for Jagrati, if you want to study my behavior, then for the 10 years or group of set of the information you need. So therefore, it is not working on a single things. It always work on aggregate facts. Okay, ignore the subjective material of the study. It will always work on the numbers, so it always ignore the subjective things. It does not consider the human behavior. If in this, if I will talk about the effectiveness of this workshop, then it will only be able to include the quantitative things, your number, but your thinking process, your that things will not be recorded anywhere in this statistic content. Need expertise to handle the advanced model. Mean median mode, it is okay. But for the advanced model, like where to use parametric test, non-parametric test, time series data, okay, how to use that, how to handle the time series data, how to handle the, Likert scaling, there are lots of things, it need expertise, and a normal person, normal jargon cannot be suitable for that. Statistics can be easily manipulated. There is no limitations for the manipulation, anyone can handle it as per their own convenience. Okay, there is no means, if there's things like they cannot have any kind of standard parameter, that's why there are lots of used. This is the summary, and I have already explained you this. Thank you for that, for listening me. Now I will take the question answer session. It's already 7.